Well, hello, Kindred Spirits. How in the world have you been? It's so good to see you again, and I'm so glad that you've chosen to spend a little bit of time with me today. I have missed you, and I hope that every one of y'all are just doing really well right now. Now, as I'm recording this, it is Wednesday, August the 6th, and it is crazy the temperature difference around here. It was only 69 degrees earlier today, and I think the high was only supposed to be up to 71. That is very unusual here in the southeast for the 1st of August. That's so unusual. So, has it cooled down in your area? Let me know. The garden has kind of gone kaput, and I told you I would show you pictures of the garden, and I never have done that, so I need to get to it before I rip everything out because it's starting to look a little peaked, and my flowers are still growing, but the vegetables aren't doing so well except for the tomatoes. They always do well, but I'm going to start pulling things out and then possibly sowing some seeds for the fall garden. So maybe some things like carrots and radishes and beets and different lettuces and maybe some cabbage and things like that. One thing that I grew well this year was potatoes. I was really surprised at how easy and how well my potatoes grew. And how I grew them was I bought seed potatoes and I bought grow bags and I filled it full of good dirt and compost and then grew the little small potatoes in grow bags outside. I was very pleased with how they turned out and even more pleased with how they tasted. There is nothing better in the world to go outside in your garden and pick a bunch of things and then serve it to your family for supper. It is just the best feeling, and so we did that several times this year, and it was really, really good. What I wanted to talk to you about today was a little bit of information about cultivated pearls, and they're freshwater pearls, and they are in the Tennessee River. And what's so interesting about this is they've been growing these pearls for a very long time in the fresh water of the Tennessee River. And I remember them growing when I was a child, but I don't even know if it was actually cultivated back then or if it was just a natural occurrence. I believe it was natural because my grandfather, when back in the 40s, he used to live in that area of Tennessee. And I'm going to show you a painting that he did of Cuba Landing, which is an area off the Tennessee River, and it's where he grew up. And he also, I don't know if you call it mined for pearls, you dug, I don't know exactly what you did, if you dug for mussels or picked the mussels off of places, but oftentimes he would find pearls in those mussel shells. And so it's endearing to me that this place is still there, and that I even have a painting that my grandfather painted of that time in his life. So evidently it meant something to him for him to put it down on canvas like that. So again, that painting is hanging proudly in my home. But I thought it would be fun to read to you just a little bit about this information, and it might be interesting for you to go take a field trip down there sometime, or just maybe learn a little bit more about Tennessee pearls. And if you've never seen one before, they're not round and perfect looking like traditional pearls. They're sort of oddly shaped, but they're very unique, and I think that they're beautiful. And so I hope that you'll take a look and check them out too someday. So if you are getting ready to go to bed, or you just want to relax and you're listening to this for relaxation, I'm not going to show you anything. I'm just going to read to you from now on, so you can just close your pretty eyes. You can turn that phone over so that bright light won't blind you and disturb your rest. And I just hope that you enjoy what I'm going to tell you about, and it calms and soothes you and helps to relax you and just send you off into pleasant dreams. Okay, so I'm going to read to you first an interview with John Latendresse. I may be mispronouncing his last name. John Latendresse passed away July 23rd, 2000, 3 days before his 75th birthday. He was the first successful North American freshwater cultured pearl farmer. More than any other individual, Latendresse was responsible for creating the North American freshwater pearl farming industry, and he was voted one of the industry's most important people of the century. Following are excerpts from an interview that Mr. Latendresse gave in 1998. On his early years, when I first started in the pearl business, I would travel up and down the river buying pearls from the fishermen. Simply by chance, I met up with Morris Hanor, the owner of the American Gem and Pearl Company, who had driven down from New York with his wife, also buying pearls along the river. On funding the Tennessee Shell Company, which became the primary source for American mussel shells, the mother of pearl industry was a big business. The shells were utilized by the Germans who, in the late 1800s and early 1900s, used them for buttons and handles on eating utensils up until the early part of World War II. Have you ever seen a mother of pearl button? They're beautiful. On selling shell to Japanese pearl producers, I lost money the first year because the shell was so cheap, $175 a ton back then. Now it sells for several $1,000s a ton. On how he acquired 75% of the Japanese shell business in less than 5 years. Well, I sent a sample and then sent a shipment, which was exactly what I said it would be, or better. So my success came mostly from integrity and getting along with the people on the river. So that would have been somebody like my grandfather. So on how he acquired, well, we already read that, on why the quality of Japanese pearls fell sharply in the 1970s. So duration of a pearl's growth inside a mollusk dropped from 5 to 3 years, then to 2 years, and then to 18 months 1 year, and then finally 8 months. On the early Chinese pearl industry, which helped get it started and which he warned about overpopulation, the Chinese didn't pay attention and remained disorganized. Every farmer had a few mussels, and I taught them a few things, which I somewhat regret, but the Japanese would have taught them eventually. His response to leaders of the Japanese cultured pearl industry, which were ready to cut their ties to the U.S. suppliers. They had told Latendresse, "You are selling us more than 70% of the material we use for bead. We do not feel that you belong in the Japanese pearl business. Mikamoto is a national hero. We began it, and we don't feel that you belong in it. There sure are a lot of Toyotas and Hondas in the U.S., and Henry Ford is a national hero." On resourcefulness. Back then, in order to get a drilling machine out of Japan, you had to be Japanese. So I had my mother-in-law, who was Japanese, order it for us. Isn't that something? So on the future of the Japanese and Chinese pearl industries, having been in the business as long as I have, I see the Japanese will become the merchants. As China gets more people into university and college and becomes more democratic, the Chinese will outrank the Japanese. The Japanese may not be the largest supplier any longer, and when the water in China becomes as polluted, as bad as the waters of Japan, then they too will have less production. On starting the cultured pearl business in the United States, failure after failure after failure. For 20 long years in the lab, experimenting, testing the shells, the water quality, etc., we tested close to 500 bodies of water for the best chance to grow pearl. Several $1 million went down the drain to find all this out, and in 1983 we began to see some results. Nobody thought it could be done. John Latendresse passed away in 2000, leaving his legacy for his family to continue. His wife Chessie, daughters Gina and Renee, and son J.K. are involved with the ongoing operations of the American Pearl jewelry facet of the business. The farm is now in the possession of Robert G. Keast, owner of Birdsong Resort Marina and Campground in Camden, Tennessee. The farm is still working, growing, and producing pearls that was founded in North America. Now, the pearl from start to finish. No gem captures the imagination like the lustrous creation of the mollusk, the freshwater pearl. Naturally occurring pearls are the most precious because of their rich color and orient, displaying an incredible rainbow of iridescence born from deep layers of the protective nacre of the mussel in a CRE. Natural pearls are rare and the supply in the marketplace is limited. For over 40 years, John Latendresse collected natural pearls from our own rivers and lakes, maintaining a sizable collection. Over 30 years of research and development were invested towards the refining and reinventing the cultured techniques introduced from Asia. Results were astonishing. Not only did they improve upon the culturing process, allowing the pearls to grow for an additional 3 to 5 years in monitored waters, but our own native river mussels produced remarkably beautiful cultured pearls of superior quality and unique shapes. The American pearl story begins with the lone diver. Mother shells are harvested individually from the rivers. Natural habitats are not destroyed by dredging the river floor, therefore the younger mussels are left to continue growth and breeding. With great care, the mussels are placed into a net, allowing ample room for each mussel to feed, grow, and reproduce at a higher rate than its natural habitat. The nets are then transported to the pearl farm, where the water quality and temperature are consistently monitored. The cultured pearl begins with the mother of pearl nucleus. In fact, about 95% of the world's cultured pearls were nucleated with a bead carved from the shell of an American mussel. How about that? The nucleation process is a skill that takes many years to master. A mother of pearl nucleus is shaped and placed strategically within the mantle tissue of the mussel. Because of their great size, American mussels can be multinucleated with a variety of shapes, producing bountiful harvests of pearls. Next, the sensitive nucleated mussel are eased back into their natural environment by way of the intensive care unit. From here, the mussels are on their way to the pearl farm, where they will work their magic for 3 to 5 years. Most Japanese pearls are cultured for only 1 year or less, resulting in less durability and beauty. Waiting is always difficult. When the 3 to 5 year growing period is up, the pearls are anxiously harvested and sorted. The pearls are cultured in a variety of original shapes. The most popular is the dome, immediately recognized as a cultured pearl of high quality, rich luster, and breathtaking orient. The dome begins as a large blister pearl in the shell of the mussel. The shell is thoroughly cleaned, and then the rough shapes of the dome are cut from the shell. The final shape for each one is meticulously calibrated, and the edges are polished to a smooth finish. After the dome is perfected, it is graded, sized, and matched by the pearl specialist. It's then ready for the artistry of its gold setting. There's also a unique luster, orient, and that's the deep play in color as well as its size and clarity. The short-term growth of the Japanese cultured pearl creates a very thin nacre coating, clearly shown in the cross-section photo. In contrast, a natural pearl will have thick layers of nacre, shown as rings in the cross-section photo, which gives the pearl durability, beauty, and value. We combine these desirable qualities of the natural pearl and the predictability of the cultured pearl by culturing the pearls for years instead of months. Pearls from the Tennessee River Pearl Farm are never bleached or dried. They maintain their natural beauty and durability. The nucleus for each cultured pearls is a calcium carbonate substance such as mother of pearl. A grain of sand or a pebble can never produce a pearl. This is simply a myth. Now that's so interesting. I didn't know that. If a pebble should end up under the mussel, the shell will grow around the pebble but not adhere to the shell itself. Work doesn't end after the pearls are harvested. American artisans and goldsmiths create lines of fine jewelry, sculpting the initial wax design using the lost wax process in casting the trees of mountings with gold. They polish and then they set the mountings with pearls and gems, and then put the final finishing touches on each masterpiece. Some designer pieces are hand fabricated. Gemologists inspect all gems, pearls, diamonds, and colored stones that become part of the jewelry. American pearls are so durable that they may even be cleaned with ultrasonic with no harm to the pearls. Each piece receives a final inspection before being offered to the retailer. So now, isn't that something? I need to do some more research about that part that said that a pebble and a piece of sand will not produce a pearl, because I never knew that. I thought that that's how pearls were made in the first place. So I need to do some more research on that. Here's another piece of information. Let's see. Well, wait a second. We've already read something that's very similar to this, so let's skip to this part right here. Facts about pearls. So, pearls consist of calcium carbonate, aragonite water, and concholin. The concholin is what binds the layer together. Concholin. I may be mispronouncing that, but it sounds like it is a shell, because there's the conch shell and it's spelled similarly, Conchholin. So I bet you there is a root word in there. We'll have to look that up. So they have a hardness of 2.5 to 4.5, so they're very tough, and the luster is pearly. Are produced by oysters or sea mollusk and freshwater mussels. They form by placing calcium carbonate around an irritant. A natural pearl has an irritant that is naturally there, such as a parasite or even a piece of sand. A cultured pearl has a mother of pearl bead with a piece of mantle tissue or a piece of mantle tissue inserted into the mollusk. So this is a contradiction, because it does say that a piece of sand, maybe a cultured pearl is not made from a piece of sand, and a natural pearl is. I have to go back and read that. So from a historical sense, pearls have been around a very long time and have been one of the most treasured of the organic gems. They were used for taxes in China, sewn on clothes in Persia, which is now modern-day Iran, and during the Middle Ages, they were exclusively a royal gem. Some of the earliest references to pearls were made to Ceylon and India. In fact, it is documented here in ancient writings concerning the association of pearls with weddings, so it's very possible where the tradition of brides and pearls got started. During the early 20th century, pearl prices were too high for mass ownership, but by the 1920s, American women were owning lots of different pearl jewelry. Two factors occurred in the 1930s that affected the pearl market. One was the Depression, and the second was the introduction of the cultured pearl. Kokichi Mikamoto was the creator of this technique. At the age of 94, when Mr. Mikamoto was interviewed, he was asked what contributed to his health, and he said that he owed his good health to the 2 pearls he swallowed every morning since the age of 20. Tiffany's did not start carrying cultured pearls until 1956, which is sad because Mikamoto died in 1955. I bet almost every one of you have a strand of Mikamoto's either through your own ownership or from your mother's. Most pearls on the market today are cultured. I have a strand of pearls. I have 2 strands of pearls, as a matter of fact, that my mother gave me, and they're gorgeous, and I just wonder if they could be part of these cultured pearls. I'm just not sure. So the criteria for judging pearls is the luster. The pearl should have a high luster, and that's a shininess. An orient, which is the iridescence, and iridescence sort of looks like a circular rainbow on the pearl. I love iridescent anything. So the more of that, the more expensive. Graded as high luster, medium luster, and low luster, and very low luster. Color. In white pearls, it is personal choice, but rose is usually preferred. This is affected by something called overtone, powder on a woman's face. Common overtone colors are rose, silver, blue, and green. Blue being the rarest, rose being the most common. My goodness, whoever wrote this did not use correct punctuation. This is a little difficult to read. Let's see. In black pearls, overtone is usually green or pink. Colors, body color, are rose, white, cream, yellow, or gold, and gray for saltwater cultured. So when we describe a pearl's color, we're talking about the combination of body color and overtone. A white rose pearl would be white in body color, with a rose overtone would be silver white. Then we have the colored freshwater pearls, and these are judged by the depth of color that we see, and intense lavender will have more than a lighter shade, unless, of course, it is a larger size. Rarity plays in. Very interesting. And it says pearls should be wrapped in something when stored. However, they do need moisture, so a sealed container which keeps moisture out is not recommended. Avoid contact with vinegar or ammonia, which is found in most commercial jewelry cleaners, bleach, ink, hairspray, perfumes, and cosmetics. These substances will spot or break down the surface of the pearl. When putting your pearls away, it is suggested that you wipe with a hot, damp towel to remove body oils. You should wash your pearls on occasion in mild soapy water, not detergent. After washing, rinse in clear water and wrap them in a cotton towel to dry. You can use a soft brush to clean around the knots. It is recommended that you have your pearls restrung once a year if you wear them a lot. This keeps them from rubbing against each other and going all over the place if they break. Small pearls do not have to be knotted since the knotting detracts from their appearance. And it does say that, okay, so here is where I was incorrect earlier. The information wasn't incorrect. I just had it wrong. It says pearl is formed in shellfish as a reactant to an irritant such as a piece of sand. Cultured pearls, that's the key word, cultured pearls, are created by adding a piece of mussel or shell inside of an oyster of mussel. This then creates a pearl as the layers of the inside of the shell grow over the added substance. Pearls are generally white, brown, silver, cream, black, or pink, depending on the type of shellfish and water. Natural pearls are the most expensive, followed by cultured pearls. Freshwater pearls tend to be relatively inexpensive. And it says that the Tennessee symbol is the pearl, which was adopted in 1979. So it says the pearl taken from the mussels in the freshwater rivers of the state is the official state gem. I love that. During the years between 1882 and 1914, beautiful pearls were taken from many of the state's streams, from the Pigeon and the Holston in the east of the Forked to the Forked Deer and Obion in the west. The Caney Fork in Middle Tennessee was noted for its pearl-bearing mussels, and pearling was a favorite sport for young people on Sunday afternoons at the turn of the century. Tennessee River pearls are of all colors, and they are natural as the mussels made them, all pearl all the way through. I love that. That is just beautiful. And the last thing about pearls is this is a little bit of lore, and sometimes people claim that gemstones have healing properties. As a matter of fact, I made a video about that last year. I love gemstones and I love mining for gemstones, and some people believe that they have healing properties. But it says for pearls that they eliminate emotional imbalances, helps one master the heart chakra, aids the stomach, spleen, intestinal tract, and ulcer problems. And it says that pearls were once thought to be the tears of God. The ancient Greeks believed that wearing pearls would promote marital bliss and prevent newlywed women from crying. Pearl is often referred to as the queen gem. Diamond is referred to as the king gem. Pearl is said to help one see themselves and help improve self-worth. Giving a loved one a gift of natural pearls is one of the nicest gifts one can give. It allows the wearer to see the love of the person who gave them pearls. How about that? That is, now that I've read about this, I want to go and find my mother's pearls, because as I was reading, I remembered a few things. Her pearls that she had came in a leather pouch. It was more like a suede pouch, and it was a beautiful pouch, and so she always kept them in there, and that's what it said, to keep them in a soft place, and you need to wrap them. And then secondly, her pearls were strung, and it was strung on a string, and you could see the knot in between each one of them. And they were kind of hidden, but you could see them. And the reason why I don't wear them, though, is because of the clasp. The clasp is messed up, and so I just need to restring them myself. I think I could do it. I could probably just buy a jewelry making kit and restring them myself. But they are beautiful, and hers were more of a... They're not exactly gold, but they weren't white. They were more on the side of a beige than white pearls, and so they were beautiful. And I'm not exactly sure again where my father picked them up for her, but she had two of them, and I gave one to my daughter, and then I have the other one. So I'll have to look into that. And secondly, I got this information while I was down in Middle Tennessee for my father's memorial service a few weeks ago, and it was such a quick trip. It was an 8-hour drive there and 8 hours back, and we were only there for, we stayed 2 nights, and so it was a very quick trip, and we didn't have time to go to the resort, to the Freshwater Pearl shop. But I want to go there because I would love to have a strand of freshwater pearls, either as a bracelet, probably a bracelet more than a necklace. I don't typically wear a lot of necklaces, so a bracelet or earrings or maybe even a ring too. I would love to have one. So I want to go back someday and visit and then maybe buy one for myself because I think it would be lovely to have. So my friends, I hope that that was interesting and enjoyable to you, and I hope that you learned something, but most of all, I hope that it was relaxing. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you again on the next video. Y'all take good care. Bye-bye.